A long time ago, in a quiet village surrounded by dry fields and dusty roads, there lived a man named James. James was not rich. He was not famous. He was simply a traveler who loved learning about life. Everywhere he went, he believed people, animals, even silence, had something to teach. One hot afternoon, while walking along a lonely road, James heard a strange sound in the distance. Boom, boom, boom. The ground trembled softly beneath his feet. As he moved closer, he saw them. Elephants, massive, powerful, towering creatures with legs like tree trunks. Their ears flapped lazily in the heat as dust rose around them. But something felt wrong. James narrowed his eyes. Each elephant was tied by a thin rope around one front leg. No chains, no cages, just rope. A very small rope. He stopped walking. These animals could tear down trees, yet they stood still, quiet, obedient, as if escape was impossible. How can something so powerful be held by something so weak? He whispered. Nearby, an old trainer sat beneath a tree, sipping water from a metal cup. James approached him. "Excuse me, why don't they break free?" The trainer smiled, a slow, knowing smile. "When they are young," he said, "we tie them with the same rope." James listened. "At that age, it's strong enough. They try to escape again and again." The trainer looked toward one elephant in the distance. "They pull, they struggle, they fight with everything they have." He paused. "And they fail." Silence lingered. "After a while," he continued, "they stop trying." James frowned. "But now they're strong enough." "Yes," the trainer said quietly. "Very strong." "Then why don't they leave?" The trainer exhaled softly. "Because, in their minds, the rope still holds them." That night, as rain tapped gently against the roof of a small roadside inn, James sat by the window and thought, not about the elephants, but about people. Months later, he arrived in another village and met a young man named Caleb. Caleb repaired bicycles in a cramped wooden shop near the market. The air smelled of oil and rusted metal. Tools clinked as he worked, his hands moving with quiet precision. He was talented, naturally skilled. Even older mechanics respected him. Yet, he remained in that tiny shop while others built thriving businesses. One evening, James sat beside him. "You're good at this," James said. "Why not open your own workshop?" Caleb let out a short, bitter laugh. "Me? I could never do that." "Why not?" Caleb wiped his hands slowly on a cloth, avoiding eye contact. "I'm not smart enough." The answer came too quickly. "Who told you that?" A long pause. "When I was younger, I failed an exam." He swallowed. "My teacher said people like me never succeed." James said nothing, but he understood. The rope. Years passed. Then one day something changed. James returned to that same village, but the small wooden shop was gone. In its place stood a modest workshop, larger, busier, alive with movement. Bicycles lined the walls, metal clanged, customers waited. And at the center of it all stood Caleb, confident, focused, different. James smiled as he approached. Caleb looked up and froze for a moment before breaking into a grin. "You came back." James glanced around. "You tested the rope." Caleb nodded. "At first, I failed again," he admitted. "I almost stopped." He paused, then added quietly, "But I realized something. I never actually tried as the person I am now, only as the person I thought I was." As the years went on, James saw the same invisible struggle everywhere. A woman who stopped singing after being mocked once. A farmer who never expanded after one bad season. A painter named Miriam who created beautiful art, but only on tiny scraps of paper. "Why not paint something bigger?" James asked her. She shook her head. "People like me don't belong in galleries." "Who told you that?" Her fingers tightened slightly around her brush. "Someone I believed." Time passed. James grew old. His steps slowed, his hair turned gray. But the lesson never left him. One quiet evening, near a river, he saw a young boy throwing stones into the water, angry, frustrated. "I'll never be good enough," the boy muttered. James sat beside him. "Why do you think that?" "I tried reading today," the boy said, his voice shaking. "I made mistakes. Everyone laughed." James nodded gently. "Can I tell you a story?" The boy agreed, and once again, James spoke of the elephants, the rope, the belief that becomes a prison. When he finished, the boy stared at the river. "So, they're strong enough to escape?" "Yes. They just don't know it?" James nodded. The boy hesitated. "How do you know if it's a real rope, or just fear?" James smiled. "You try again." The boy looked at him. "You test it." A breeze moved across the water. James drew a line in the sand. "Some people fail once," he said, "and turn that moment into who they are." He erased the line with his foot. "But failure is something that happens." He looked at the boy. "It is not something you become." The boy's expression softened. "Do you think I can get better?" James met his eyes. "I think the rope is weaker than you believe." For a long moment, the boy said nothing. Then, slowly, he picked up a small book beside him. Before leaving, James placed a hand on his shoulder. "Fail if you must, rest if you need to, but never let one moment decide your future." Many people are not trapped because they are weak. They are trapped because they believe they are weak. The real chains are often invisible. Fear, doubt, memory, and old words that were never meant to define you. The rope may look strong, but sometimes the only thing holding you back is the strength you have not yet tested.